Hey everybody, it's Manda Lee here today, and I am doing a Create a Sim video today for you guys. This family that I have created in this video is actually going to be a family that I'm going to use in a Let's Play. And if you guys have been watching my other videos on my channel, you'll know that I recently uploaded a video of a New England inspired family home in Brindleton Bay. And this family is actually going to be living in that house for the Let's Play. So this is going to be a cats and dogs Let's Play, and we are going to be using some of the new gameplay that comes with cats and dogs. This family ends up in the end with 2 pets, so that's a lot of fun. They have a cat and a dog, and who knows, maybe they'll get more as time goes on. We'll kind of see how that unfolds. But this is the Strickland family. So we have the dad, Kenneth, the mom's name is May, and then their daughters are Lila, Delaney, and Hallie. And Lila and Delaney are twins, and we'll talk a little bit more about them and their personalities as we get further into the video and get to their parts. But basically the backstory of the family is that May, who's the mom, actually grew up in this New England family home and she inherited it from her family. And she decided instead of selling it, she wanted to raise her own family in it. And so when she married Kenneth, he was making good money. He's an entrepreneur, a business person. So he was making good money, and they decided that they would renovate the house kind of to their liking. So I kind of picture that the build that I was doing was the exterior was the old house that May grew up in, but the interior has been renovated to be how May wanted it to be, basically. And I don't picture the Strickland family being like super wealthy by any means, but they definitely have enough money from inheritance from May's family and Kenneth's work to live comfortably for all of them. So, you know, not super wealthy, but they're getting by really well for sure. So like I said, Kenneth is a business person, and then May, I pictured her at first staying at home, but as I kind of created her character a little more and I guess you could say got to know her character, I started to feel like she might be really good as a food critic. One of her traits ends up being that she's a foodie, and I think that like she just really enjoys cooking, but she's not necessarily a chef, but she is really into food, and I think she would love to be a food critic. And the nice thing about the food critic career that came with city living is that it's a work from home career. I don't know exactly what they call it, but you have the option basically to work from home, and then it gives you objectives that you can hit excuse me, throughout the day to, you know, basically earn your money. And then you also have the option to go to the office if you decide that you want to. So that's going to be May's job. Kenneth will be a business person. I think I'm going to cheat Kenneth to be to a certain level, just because that's kind of part of the storyline where he was already successful in business and stuff. So I think I'll cheat him up to maybe like level 6-ish in the business career. But everyone else, I think I'm going to start from the bottom as far as like skills and everything like that goes. I just want them to have like a stable income source though, so that I'm not having to cheat all the time to pay bills and everything like that. So at this point, what I was doing is I was just creating like the base for every character. I wasn't doing their like clothing and stuff as I went. I was just doing like their hair and their overall looks. So I've created all of them at this point, actually, except for the pets. So like I said before, we have Lila and Delaney, who are twins, and those are obviously the 2 middle ones. And then Hallie is the youngest. So, but now I've actually moved into the portion where I'm going to be dressing the Sims, basically. I'll be the first to say that this is not my strong suit, nor is it my favorite part of The Sims, is dressing Sims. Of course, I love the outfits and love to see what comes with The Sims, but like in my everyday life, I'm not the most fashion-oriented person, I guess you could say. It's just not something that interests me a ton, and I'm just not that good at putting outfits together, I don't think. So I tend to just rely a lot on the styled looks to give me ideas. And especially for the men, I think I struggle to come up with stuff just because, I don't know, I also feel like the men's clothing options are a lot more limited than the women's. Because the women's have so many cute dresses and skirts and stuff, and men just basically have tops and pants. So it's a little tougher for me for the men to come up with stuff to put on them. So forgive me if this isn't like the most awe-inspiring portion of the video. But you know, it's just pretty basic stuff, most of it. Again, like I said, they are well off, but I don't think that they're like super ritzy or like over the top. I do picture May, the mom, being like very glamorous, and she, not even glamorous though, like more chic, I would say. Like she wants to have nice clothes and stuff like that, but she's not going to be over the top caring about like designer brands and stuff like that. I would say that Lila, she's one of the twins. She's definitely the most fashion forward of all of them. And she's a little bit more edgy out of the twins. And she is an artist, and she wants to be an artist when she grows up. So she is always kind of like thinking of ways to express her art, whether it be like through her hairstyle or her clothing or her like room. You'll see it has some cool art in it. So she has some cool, more experimental outfits, I guess you could say, that end up being a lot of fun. And then Delaney, the other twin, she's a lot more like clean cut, I guess you could say, and she is very much interested in getting good grades and kind of like being the teacher's favorite and stuff like that. So I actually was considering maybe having Delaney go into the vet career, excuse me, just because I think that's something that would interest her. I think she likes animals a lot, but she wants something a little bit more prestigious that's almost kind of like, you know, a doctor for animals. So I'm thinking about that, and we'll kind of see as the LP goes forward. Let me know what you guys think about that, whether you like that idea or not, and we can see what we can do about that. But I think Lila will definitely be involved in art of some type, whether she is, you know, doing actual paintings or whether she's doing music or, you know, whatever it ends up being. And then the youngest daughter, Hallie, she is basically at this point, her biggest personality point is that she loves cats. And she's just super into cats, everything about cats. She has a few cat outfits on, and her room is decorated. If you've seen that build, you'll see her room is decorated all with cats. And she actually has her own cat, and it's just hers. She got it for her birthday or Christmas or something, just as a present, and, you know, it's just her cat. It sleeps in her room and everything. And I think that she definitely wants more cats, so maybe that will be part of the LP2, whether she ends up adopting strays or just adopting them from the computer or just adding them through Create-A-Sim. I don't know. We'll kind of see how that unfolds. But she's definitely super into cats. So I think that she would have really liked it if Delaney ended up becoming a veterinarian, just because then she could be around animals a little more and stuff like that. So now I kind of talked through all of Kenneth's clothing section, but his wasn't the most exciting. Like I said, I'm not great at doing men's clothing, but I've moved into May now, and you can kind of see like the look I'm going for is just very clean cut, very kind of chic and elegant, I guess you could say as well. So I love that low pony on her, and I think I end up keeping that for most of her looks. I think one or two of them I do hair down. But yeah, so I'm trying to remember what, I loved that dress, but I don't think I ended up putting her in it because it just seemed a little bit too like bohemian to me, I guess you could say. Oh yeah, this is what I ended up putting her in. This is a fun outfit. May actually reminds me a lot of my mom. Like, she just is very put together and, you know, just always has the perfect outfit on and stuff like that. Hair and makeup always done. So that outfit, I was totally thinking like my mom would wear this for sure. She even has a shirt just like that. So that's kind of where my inspiration came from for that outfit, and the little booties I love too. So when I was creating May's character, just as far as like her mothering abilities and the way she tends to mother her children, I think that she's a good mom for sure, and her kids really like her, but I think it's almost more of like a friendship type relationship. I don't think that she is overly maternal, and I don't think that she's like going to coddle her kids. I think she's like very much always been a go-getter, and so she wants her kids to have that same kind of attitude in life. So she encourages them and of course will help them achieve their dreams, but she's not gonna like baby step them basically. So now we've moved on to Lila, and Lila is honestly maybe my favorite one of the LP. She just seems like she's gonna be really fun to play with. At first when I created her, I thought like maybe she would be super rebellious and like maybe even get pregnant or decide to move out at a young age or something like that. But as I kind of got to know her character, and I'm not ruling those things out per se, but I think that she's not necessarily rebellious. She's just more edgy than anything else. Like, you know, like I was talking about earlier, she's an artist. I think she's really into art. I've thought about maybe making her like a lesbian or maybe bisexual or some kind of non-binary gender or something like that. I love that short hair, and I love it on a girl too. I think obviously just with those short types of hair, boy is like the most obvious thought, but I think on a girl it's a lot of fun, and especially on a character like Lila, who's just so edgy and very experimental with her look. I think that she would be really into it. So her everyday style that you just saw ended up being that red top with the kind of the black lacy detail and then the short black short, and I can see how it might come across as a little bit like gothic, but it's not, because you'll see like this is her look for formal, this bright green dress. So she just loves to experiment with colors, she loves to experiment with different looks. Like she doesn't feel like she has to be limited by what people say like a style should be, quote unquote. And she just like, pretty much in my mind, the way that she was is if she likes something and sees it, she's gonna go with it, whether or not it fits her aesthetic or her style or, you know, anything like that. I think that Lila's also pretty low maintenance. Like I don't think that she's gonna be super fussy about things or anything like that. Her traits end up being, let's think. So her aspiration is painter extraordinaire, and I have her like a nice little paint setup. I have her an easel in her room, and then there's also like a paint setup down in the main living room. Oh, sorry. And then I'm pretty sure that her traits end up being creative and I think gloomy. And I kind of went back and forth on the gloomy trait. Like, I thought about even doing hot-headed, because I was still kind of maybe thinking of going in the really rebellious direction, like she hates her family type thing. But I ended up going with gloomy, not because I think that she's like, you know, a very like upset sim or gonna be super sad all the time. But maybe she struggles with depression, and maybe that's kind of like been something that's fueled her art. And so she tends to just have a little bit of a down mood sometimes, and that's totally fine. So that's Lila, and now we've moved on to Delaney. I loved this curly hair for Delaney. I feel like it's just so girl next door. Like, it reminds me of early Taylor Swift when she had those like spiraled long blonde locks. And I think that like I picture Delaney being a total Swiftie. Like, she just loves Taylor Swift, aspires to look like her, aspires to be like her. And Delaney's primary characteristic is that she's really concerned with what everyone thinks about her. Really the opposite of Lila in some of the ways like that. And not only like what her peers think about her, but what teachers think about her, what her parents think about her, you know, what mentors, like career mentors, think about her. So she just wants to impress everybody at all times. And as you can imagine, that could get exhausting. I'm trying to remember the traits that I gave to Delaney. I think I end up doing perfectionist for one of them, and I can't remember the other one. And I also can't remember what I gave her for an ambition, but I guess we'll see it as we move forward. Delaney ends up with a lot of pink. I just like knew girls like this in high school who were just like super preppy, like, you know, they were in student council, they had straight A's in every class that they did, teachers loved them, like coaches loved them, everyone loved them. And this is kind of inspired to me by a few girls that I knew that were always wearing like pink. So it's definitely inspiration drawn from some of those people. Not that I like didn't like them or anything, and not that I don't like Delaney or anything at all either. I actually really like her. But she's just so different from Lila, and she definitely is just very much a perfectionist, so that trait ended up fitting her really well. I think she just always wants to get her way, always wants things to go perfectly for her, and when they don't, I think she's really thrown for a loop, just because that's not how she's used to things going in her life. So for her look, I kind of tried to reflect that just by having like a very put together, tailored look for most of the stuff that she ends up wearing, and then also like her hair as well. I love this outfit that came with Cats and Dogs, with the little crop sweater and the ripped jeans. I think the ripped jeans maybe aren't super characteristic of Delaney, but I loved that crop sweater. And unfortunately, it's a one-piece outfit. I almost wish that it had been separates, just because I love those pants and I love the top separately too. And I do love them together. Oh yeah, okay, so for her aspiration, I did Renaissance Sim, which is the one that the Sim wants to be as good as at many things as possible. And then let's see, so I did Perfectionist, and then here you can see me kind of struggling to decide what trait to do for her. What am I gonna pick? Okay, Genius. So her dad, Kenneth, is a genius as well. So I thought maybe she would have inherited that from him. And that's kind of been something that's fueled her. Like maybe she got really good grades easily in elementary school, and because she got good grades and received praise from that, that was something that she'd aspired to later in life. So that's why I went with Genius as well. Okay, Hallie is the youngest of the Strickland girls, and she is, like I was talking about earlier, obsessed with cats. So I honestly don't have, her personality to me isn't super fledged out yet. I think kids are, I always tend to like have a storyline for them, and then once I start playing with them, the storyline becomes more apparent to me than it was before. So I'm not gonna like get super strict on how I expect her to act or anything like that. But her aspiration is social butterfly, and her trait is cat lover. So those are definitely, and you know, kids are still learning about the world, they're still deciding how they're gonna go about their lives, so it makes sense that they aren't super fully fleshed out at that point in their lives. So that's why I decided to kind of just keep her storyline a little bit more open than some of the other ones who have been a little bit stricter. But one thing I think I will do, and I know I mentioned this earlier, is get her a few more cats. So I don't know if I'm gonna like, maybe she like decides to go rogue and like go to the cat park and bring her cat Toby to the cat park with her one day, and she adopts every stray she comes across. So who knows, that might be 1, that might be 3, and then she brings them all home. And I think that Kenneth and May's reaction, I think Kenneth would be totally fine with it, and I think May would be totally fine with it too, as long as Hallie promised to take care of the cats. And I think May would also have no problem if Hallie wasn't taking care of the cats and getting rid of them. So that's kind of what I mean about May. I think she's supportive, but I think she's also like very, you know, kind of cut and dry. She's not going to coddle her children or, you know, baby them in any way. So there I am, just picking Hallie's traits, and now I'm going to go ahead and add Hallie's cat in. So like I said, the cat ends up being named Toby, and that name, I was having a really hard time coming up with the cat's name, and so I kind of just started to go through the name randomizer, and Toby came up, and it totally made me think of, I had this stuffed animal when I was a kid that I named Toby, and it was one of my favorite stuffed animals, so that was kind of a little sentimental, and that's why I went with that name. I don't know why, like, I guess 8-year-old me loved the name Toby and decided to go with it, so I thought that was kind of funny. I totally understand that it's kind of not a super traditional name for a cat, so it's kind of funny, but I thought it was fitting for a little girl, you know, just because like I was a little girl when I decided that my stuffed animal should be named Toby. So I think Hallie might do the same thing. And Toby is, so let's see, he's lazy, he's spoiled, and I can't figure out what that last one was. Sorry. We'll talk about it when the Let's Play starts. And then this dog, all the dogs, I want to play with all of them. I love them all so much. I had a really hard time choosing which one I wanted to go with. So you can see me at this point cycling through breeds a little bit. But in the end, I decided to choose a golden retriever, and the reason I go with the golden retriever is, again, a kind of a sentimental reason from my own life, and it was because I actually had 2 golden retrievers growing up at separate times. So I had a golden retriever named Scout when I was really young, and he unfortunately was hit by a car and passed away when I was probably like 7. And then we got another golden retriever when I was older, a lot older, like a teenager, and his name was Gus. So this golden retriever is named Gus, and his traits are modeled after Gus, and you know, he's hairy, he's friendly, and he's lazy, which is totally like my dog Gus. So these are the family pets, and I'm open to getting them more, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is, like I said, this is the family that we're going to be playing with in our new Let's Play that we're going to be doing. So go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. Watch out for those Let's Plays coming, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. I will speak to you soon.